Hello, my name is Richard, and I was just going to do a video because it's a unique opportunity for me in that I have two kilts in the same tartan, same fabric, from the same mill, same weight, and about the same amount of yardage. One of them is a traditional hand-sewn kilt made by Cathy Hope in Scotland, and the other one is from USA Kilts. And just first off, I should say that I've been wearing kilts since 1975, and every kilt I've ever worn has been a hand-sewn Scottish-made kilt. I've never done casual kilts or utility kilts, and in fact these things didn't exist when I started kilt wearing. So I bought this during the COVID lockdown, and just to see what a USA Kilts kilt was like. And it's the first not traditional hand-sewn kilt I've ever worn or ever owned. And to show first the pricing. So Cathy Hope has kilts in 7 yards and 8 yards, and I don't like the bulkiness of an 8-yard kilt, so I went with a 7-yard kilt, which was 380 pounds, which translated to, because of our favorable exchange rate now, to 460 US dollars. The USA Kilts kilt, they charge $350 for their 5-yard tweed kilt. But due to this fabric, which is a 16-ounce tweed, in a tartan tweed in Hunting Stewart Weathered, there was an upcharge of $60. And then also I wanted a 6th yard in the kilt, and so there was an upcharge of $60 for that. So this kilt ended up being $470, which in other words was slightly more than the Cathy Hope kilt, though of course the one coming from Scotland, it didn't get charged duty, but I did have to pay the shipping, which was more expensive. So it's kind of a push as far as price. Now, if you see the front, and when the kilt is worn, they look exactly the same. The same fringe, and the same apron, the same shaping. On the back, the main difference that shows on the back is just a choice I made, which was how to have it pleated. Hunting Stewart's a non-repeating tartan. It's a huge set, and generally what they do is they alternate the pleats. And so I chose to have them alternated this way, so the gray was showing in every other pleat and the brown was showing in every other pleat, which I really like. Though it does make it look from a distance like it has half as many pleats as it really has. And this has 25 pleats. Cathy had a clever way of pleating it so all the pleats look alike, and this has 26 pleats. It does have the alternating thing that they have on the Army Hunting Stewart kilts, which is where each pleat, they alternate with the red stripe and the yellow stripe, where every other pleat has the red stripe underneath and every other pleat has the yellow stripe underneath. So that's kind of cool. The other difference is that, like all traditional kilts, these pleats are all hand sewn. So it lays very flat, it's very elegant. There's hand done invisible stitching. As close as you can get, you can't see the stitching. It's beautiful. The USA Kilts is machine stitched, and it's top stitched, so you can actually see, if you have to be really close to see it, but you can see a little stitching along the edge, and it leaves like a slight bead. So if you feel it, you can feel these little beads along there. But it's you have to get pretty close to see that. The major difference to me in the two is how they feel when you wear them. Traditional kilts, the pleats are cut out. Well, what does that mean? If you fold this fabric, you can see you have all this fabric going here, and up here now the pleats are only stitched down this far, and this area here where they're stitched is called the fell. And on traditional kilts, each pleat is cut out in a kind of a semicircular shape, so that up here it's really not, you don't have the full thickness it makes it pretty thin and a lot more lightweight. This kilt is lighter. Even though this kilt has 7 yards and this kilt has 6 yards, this is a heavier kilt because all that extra fabric that has been left in there. So on this one, since the pleats aren't cut out, it's thick and kind of bulky there. And you could unsew these pleats and open it up and it would be the full yardage of fabric. And a traditional kilt, because each pleat's cut out underneath, inside, if you opened it up, it would be, half the fabric would be gone. What this means is traditional kilts have a way, and I don't really understand it, but they have a way of kind of conforming to the small of your back that makes them stay up and makes them feel comfortable around the waist. This being thick and bulky, it really doesn't do that. And so when I wear it, I'm aware of the bulk. Now, if somebody has only worn casual kilts and so forth, they'd be used to that feel. But me only used to wearing traditional kilts with cutout pleats, it was the first time I'd ever have this kind of bulky, heavy amount of fabric there around my back. Now internally, which obviously you don't see when somebody's wearing it, both these kilts look the same when I wear them, is it has the traditional lining that's all basted down. And of course on the aprons it isn't, because if you did baste it down or sew it down, you'd have this line of stitching going across the front apron, which you don't want. So that's how the traditional kilts are made. The USA Kilts kilt, when it came, the lining wasn't sewn down at all. It was all loose and just kind of hanging open, and the pleats each pleat was open all the way up to the binding. And so I'm used to having everything nicely anchored and flat inside. So with little basting, I anchored all the pleats and I also basted down the lining. So it feels a little more like a traditional kilt. So that is my review. Any questions you have, you can leave in the comments below. And I think that will conclude it.